morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Flyers fans out there. This is episode 16 of Flyers Gonna Flyera. I am Eric, also known as Filibuster10 on Twitter, and I am joined by journalist extraordinaire from Flyers Nitty Gritty, Jamey Bascow. Jamey, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, aloha. I'm doing pretty good. I'm having a good hair day, so we're doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm having a good beard day. Actually, did a little
Hey,
there.
that's all it is, man.
So like I said, this is episode 16. Unfortunately, Alex couldn't join us this week. Got something to do. So it's just me and Jamey, and I think it's going to be a good one anyway. You ready, Jamey?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
All right. So for our first topic today, I think we'd go week in review. Just your thoughts on so far the three games that we played against Vancouver. A loss, unfortunately. Also, season opener 3-0, or I should say, home opener 3-0. Game 2 against the Caps was a 4-1 loss, and the third game against the Caps again in a back-to-back, a 6-3 loss. So, Jamey, your thoughts?
Well, I think this might be who the team is, actually. We've talked about before, the goaltending. The goaltending hasn't been bad. Sam Ersson has been good / average. And last year, I just think Carter Hart was stealing a lot of games early. I mean, he was phenomenal. I don't think he got enough, credit for what he did last year before he was taken away, before the situation in December, before he had to leave the team and stuff to handle, some, those, circumstances to where, somebody was, sexually assaulted and whatnot for the 2018, hockey investigation, Canada hockey investigation, that is. But he was just playing really good hockey, and he was stealing games for the Flyers. The Flyers haven't had a goaltender that stole games up until Carter Hart. So you're looking at Sam Ersson, who has played, good to average, I think. But, Carter Hart last year was winning games 1-0, 2-1, stuff like that. Ivan Fedotov is definitely not, performing at, Ersson's level or even, Carter Hart's level. Fedotov finally, got the ball rolling, what was it, Wednesday night? I thought he played okay. 3 goals weren't his fault. The second one, I think he would want back for sure. 100%. It was another point shot. It just looks like he looks very shaky, but then he got comfortable and confident as the game wore on. Like after he allowed that second goal, it just looked like he was pretty deflated. It was another distant shot, point shot. Looked like he was having trouble tracking the puck. Yep, once again, and that's what's been the Achilles heel for him. At the NHL level, he's just having trouble getting around screens and seeing screens. But overall, I thought there was a lackluster effort. It just looked the Flyers were very lethargic on Tuesday and Wednesday. It looked like they lacked energy. It just looked like they just look like crap. I'll just come out and say it like that. They look very embarrassing. I think that the fans could definitely ask for their money back, especially on Tuesday night. But then came Wednesday, and Fedotov made that sprawling, unbelievable save to keep the game 4-0 as opposed to 5-0. And I forget, I think it was Duhami who he made the save on. But it was a phenomenal save, and it looked like it gave the Flyers life. About a minute later, they potted one. It's 4-1. Then right before, the period ended, they potted another, so it's 4-2. And then you felt, okay, this is the Flyers of last season, the resilient Flyers of last season. And they sure enough were resilient. They 4-3, they cut the lead. And unfortunately, there was a bad line change in terms of Zamula. John Tortorella said today it was on him. There was a miscommunication with him and Zamula, and whether he should touch the puck or not. So he's confused. So he just came off. Probably should have touched it. Would have been a too many men on the ice penalty, but at least the score would have been 4-3 and would have given the Flyers another shot. Possibly if they pulled a goaltender, then it's 4-on-4 hockey. But lo and behold, they lost. And, they lost back-to-back with Washington. And now we sit here and we face, Minnesota tomorrow night, which isn't no easy contest. What do you think, Eric?
I can't disagree with anything you just said there, Jamey. Goaltending, it's true. Last year, look, Carter Hart masked a lot of the deficiencies that we had. Like he made some huge saves that I think his goals above average, goal save above average was something ridiculous at one point at the beginning of the season last year, and it really shows because like this year I was looking at the stats before, and obviously I didn't expect Fedotov to be in the pluses in that category either, but I was looking at Ursin's stats too, and he's just under, he's like a negative 1.2 or something in saves above average. So, like, look, I think, like you said, like Urson is giving us good to good goaltend, good to okay goaltending, and like I can't blame anything on him at all. But yeah, Fedotov, I thought had a bit of a bounce back game. That second game against Washington, I thought he, like you said, that save I think was a real turning point. I think for him and for the team also in general. Like, because after he made that save, well, I think Konechny, if I'm not mistaken, had the goal right before that, and but after that, you saw that the Flyers had so much more juice, so much more power, and so they controlled the play a lot more. So that was great. And what's really concerning me also is, especially with these three games and even to begin the season, is 5-on-5 play in general. We have 7 goals for 5-on-5, and we have 21 goals against. That's you can't, basically it's like you're living on the power play, which is something I never thought I would say right now. It's like a Flyers team in the past couple years living on the power play, but and even at that, we're still not winning games. And like, look, the Vancouver game, I thought we again really slow start. We were outshot 25-10 by the time Vancouver scored their third goal. You can't do that. Washington, too quick, um, shorthanded goals. Like we allowed 2 shorthanded goals that killed the momentum. Any momentum we had, then Sanheim gets that 1 goal in the third to cut the lead in half, and then like literally 50 seconds later, they come back and they score and just deflates the team again. And then you have like the Washington game, the second one. Then you have like slow start again. They didn't come out at all. They were slow. They no zone pressure, no nothing. And then they go up by 4. Then we start coming back. Finally, we get our legs. We start coming back 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. Then, like you said, that bad change, and it crushed us again. So it's like there's just these deflating moments. I find like every game that like we might be in it, and then there's one thing that happens, and we lose our energy again. So that's a little bit concerning to me. But what's also a little positive is the penalty kill. Our penalty kill has been great again. So can't really say much about that. It's at like 89.6% right now, which is actually an improvement from like last week from when we spoke. Our power play is a little down, 24% from like last time when we spoke. Then I said it was at 26. So, but they're still good numbers. They're still very good numbers. So can't complain. If we could get our 5-on-5 play to where it has to be, I think we could actually, start winning some games. And like you said, also, I don't think we're gonna have a great team this year. I really don't. I think we're gonna take a step back from last year. Carter Hart, like we said, masked a lot of what was wrong with our team last year. After he left, you saw it, and I think what really helped us last year was that a lot of the teams behind us, or even the teams just slightly ahead of us, were terrible. So like
Yeah.
maybe we weren't playing our best, or we weren't playing our worst. We were playing maybe 500 hockey, but the other teams were losing. So it gave the illusion that we were better than we were.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the special teams, it's definitely the rock, for the team thus far. And it's crazy, like you said, that we're even talking about that right now and how good they are. Mitchkov definitely helps with the man advantage, but I'm going to tell you that, there's going to come a time to where you don't have the man advantage, excelling. They're excelling right now and have scored a power play goal in each of the 7 games, but or 6 out of the 7 games, that is, because the one game they were shut out 3-0. So, but I don't know. I just they're struggling, and I just think I allude back to training camp to where John Tortorella said, or was it the preseason games? John Tortorella said that they worked so hard on the man advantage throughout the course of training camp and preseasons. They focused so much on that they forgot about loose area, the small little things at 5-on-5 at even strength, like winning board battles, performing breakouts, gathering speed, momentum, to perform a breakout. So I just think that, they've neglected that area, rightfully so. So let's hope that they could get back to form here, 5-on-5, starting tomorrow against the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah. And one last thing that's still a concern of mine, and it was a concern before and still is stick penalties.
Oh yeah,
I went over the game logs again, and against Vancouver, 2 out of 3 penalties were stick penalties. Against
yeah,
Washington, the first game, 3 out of 6 were stick penalties.
yeah,
But a little bit on the bright side, the second game against Washington, 0 for 4 on stick penalties.
yeah.
It's looking up, Jamey. It's looking up,
Yeah.
baby. So we'll see. So all right, let's do a little transition here, and we'll talk about our super young, I should say, center on our team right now, Jet Luchenko. And so out of the 3 games this week, he played in one. He played in the home opener, and didn't play since. Jamey, thoughts?
I'm not very happy. I think I came out with a good article, actually about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, on that, the puzzling scratching of Jet Luchenko. Listen, the guy's too talented. I'm not saying he doesn't have anything to learn at the NHL level. Obviously, he does. He has to learn, his offensive flair and stuff, and to regain, have confidence that way. And that he reminds me of where Sean Couturier was when he first, was a rookie. Sean Couturier focused more on defense. He would pot a goal from here and there. I mean, you could go back to the Couturier-Malkin rivalry that they had going on starting in his, 2011 playoffs there. Really gave Couturier the household name, Sean Couturier. That's what made him. People will always remember that. But Jet Luchenko sort of appears the same. He looks to appear to be around the same development that Coots was. And listen, when Coots was in his prime and he was healthy and 100%, the guy could score with the best of them. He had no problems, potting a goal here and there. He wasn't a goal scorer by any means. I wouldn't consider him as, but he would pot a goal here and there and he had some really good scoring seasons, to be honest with you, to include point wise. So, but he was a force offensively and defensively, and that's eventually, I think, what Jet Luchenko was going to be. But scratching him and putting him in the press box does him no good. So if they're going to continue to do that, he was an extra at practice today. Travis Konechny was not there. He's day to day with an injury per Torts. So, but Luchenko was an extra. Brink was filling in for Konechny. So Brink is going to play tomorrow, and Luchenko isn't. Hopefully, at least Luchenko gets Sunday, or send him back to the Gulf Storm. It does nothing. Yes, it's nice to watch from time to time from the press box. He did it 2 games. He should be in. If you're not going to play him, send him back to the Gulf Storm. He needs playing time. He's only 18 years of age. The kid needs to play. And it goes against the grain of what the Flyers were saying. Oh, the kids will play. The kids will play. If they outplayed somebody, they will play. Well, you can't tell me that Jet Luchenko hasn't outplayed Ryan Poehling, who I think has had a horrible start to the season. So him, for example, Poehling should be, in the press box, and Luchenko should be playing. We can name others, and I'll name, but I think Flyers fans get my drift. He's outplayed players already who are on the active roster and are not sitting. So I don't understand this. I'm really confused. This is the first time I could honestly say that I disagree with John Tortorella's decision. I'm not saying he's a bad coach by any means. I'm not saying he should be fired. This is just my personal opinion. I disagree with how the Flyers are handling the matter right now.
Yeah, I agree completely. Also, there's no point. He's 18 years old, and I get, look, you could put someone in the stands, you could put someone in the press box, and you watch the game, and you can learn by watching the game. But for an 18-year-old kid, a young 18, he just turned 18 a month ago, 2 months ago, and there's no point. If he's not going to be here, then send him back. Send him back to junior, because if he's in junior, especially if he goes back to Guelph.
Yeah.
He's gonna get top line minutes. He's gonna play his 25 minutes a game, and he'll work on his scoring, he'll work on his
Yeah.
shot, work on his playmaking, and he'll develop the offensive part of his game. Because so far, what I've seen from Luchenko in the amount of games that he's played, like his defensive game doesn't concern me at all. His strength doesn't concern me at all. Like he looks strong. He's good along the boards. He's in the right spots. Look, he's made mistakes, but any 18-year-old kid will make a mistake in this league.
Right.
So like if if you if you're not going to use them in a more offensive role, like even if they would dress him and put him on the fourth line, like what's the point? I just send him back then at that point. If he's gonna play, he needs to play an offensive role in the top six. And right now, being benched in the past two games, like it serves no point. So I'd like to see him be sent back down, sent to juniors, and play. And like, look, I read something from Frank Saravalli earlier today. Like he put out a tweet maybe about an hour ago in one of his articles, basically saying that like apparently they're supposed to be making a decision. He said today, Friday, there's going to be a decision made on Luchenko, and that he thinks that if he does not get into another game on the weekend, that it's a guarantee that he's getting sent back. And like I see, like what I think is maybe because Tortorella didn't play him against Washington, either game against Washington, is maybe he wants to see what he has right now on the team with Paling, with Lawton being put back at center. Could his team function basically without Luchenko? Because we know that our center depth is void. Like we were the void of actual center depth, and so maybe it was Tortorella trying to see, okay, well, is Paling or Lawton going to give me basically what Luchenko is giving me right now? So I think maybe Torts sees that, and I think maybe they're leaning more towards sending him back because look, Luchenko has 0 points on the season, no goals, no assists. He's had opportunities. He's had a couple really nice opportunities where he could have had like that one where I thought what was it, that shot? I thought he had the deflection on. He thought he had his first goal of the season, but he never touched it. That would really nice, but we'll see. We'll see. And actually, I read your article this morning, and I actually didn't realize that Jet Luchenko was actually from London, Ontario.
Yeah.
And which kind of gives a little bit of credence to I don't know if you remember, but I had like a little conspiracy theory that possibly Jonesy and Briere are maybe on the phone with a certain Hunter brother and trying to get him into the London Knights.
So that thought has run through my mind too, because the Knights would actually he would actually help elevate the Knights, and I think that the Gulf Storm would benefit from that because he could actually choose sort of where he wants to play with what junior team. Since he was a first round draft pick, there's clauses in there that he could actually choose on exactly where he wants to play since he's been sent back from the NHL. That's just like that ECHL rule where an NHL team like Matt Goudreau, that's how he ended up. God rest in peace to Matt. But in his honor, he played a hell of games with the Reading Royals. He was phenomenal for them. He was, out of the Calgary Flames organization. They sent him back to the AHL. They sent him to the ECHL. He could play wherever he wanted to at that point. He wanted to play close to home, and Reading was the closest team to home. So that's how he ended up in Reading. So, but sort of the same thing with Luchenko. So that's a great point. And you are right by that. There is no doubt in my mind that hasn't crossed the Knights' mind. I'm sure that one of the Hunter brothers there is talking and has stuff in the works if that possibly were the case. You also make great points in terms of the Luchenko aspect that I didn't even think of, that he's trying to see, Torts is trying to find out what he has in his team before they have to actually make a decision. So that means he probably will be benched tomorrow. Sunday he'll be in, and if it helps elevate the club, then he may stay. If it doesn't, then he may go back. But I still don't think that's fair. I think that every rookie is going to hit a rookie wall, so to speak, where they're not the same players. I think that this is a lot of juggling and this is a lot of dice. I would just send him back.
Yeah, 100% agree. And look, if he could get traded to London, that'd be great because like having, let's say, him, Barkey, and Bonk on a power play together. So build that chemistry right away and come into training camp next year, all three of them together.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Just think of what it would do for the Gulf Storm organization. They need that anyway.
Oh,
For a rebuilding club like the Gulf Storm, Jet Luchenko would go there and thrive, of course, but would it help elevate the club? I don't know if it would elevate them that much, but they could get more for him and get assets their way and possibly look, maybe a year or two down the line and be in contention again like they were when Isaac Ratcliffe, played for the Gulf.
exactly. Plus, the way the OHL works, like these trades, you end up being like 24 draft picks for one player. So, like, like you said, like a rebuilding team, you could use those picks. So,
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So, like I said, hopefully Luchenko, like the situation resolves itself real soon, because, like we both said,
It will.
There's no use in having him just hanging around, not playing, and just practicing. Because
It will.
serves him no good.
It will. I got confidence in Danny Briere. Have confidence in all the confidence in the world in Torts. By no means am I mad at Torts by any means, but I do have to disagree on this decision and this decision to hold him out possibly a third game. I think this is just my personal opinion. I think it's a little bit ridiculous.
It is. It is. All right. Well, now we could do a little segment called "Stock Up, Stock Down." Is there any players, Jamey, that you think in like the past week, or at least even so far in the season, because we're still pretty early into the season, who have really impressed you, and maybe certain players stock down that might, have been struggling more than you thought, or just like are just struggling in general?
Stock up, definitely Noah Cates. I think that he's played awesome. I think it definitely stepped in very well, a lot more than what people give him credits for. Garnet Hathaway has stock up, in my opinion. I think he's another forward that I think is giving his all out there for sure. I think obviously Mafi is a no-brainer. I think Travis Konechny is a stock up. Stock down, unfortunately, I got to go with Ryan Poehling. I'd have to go with I would have went with Fedotov, but then he had a decent game on Wednesday, sort of like leveled off. So I'll give him a pass. Joel Farabee, definitely a stock down. Hopefully he could get fined and get his game together. And I think that stock down, I'd hate to say it because I actually think he's doing and he's almost there, but Owen Tippett, I think, is a stock down. I expect him to hit the net more. I say even in the middle there, I have Morgan Frost, Bobby Brink, and but it's stock down in terms of defensemen. Igor Zamula, definitely. Jamie Drysdale, although I think he's playing better than what I would have thought for him, having the major offseason surgery. I just don't think he's I think at times he's a little bit shaky defensively, and that might be because of his, the nature of recovering from the surgery. So I'd say his stock is down a bit, although I try to give him a pass because of his skating abilities are just amazing. Even, but he does create on the power play there too. But I definitely for a middle pairing defenseman that you're putting all your eggs in the bags in the chips there, or however the saying I butcher saying too. I'm really not that well, but yeah, I definitely put him there. But in terms of defense, stock up. I actually like Travis Sanheim's game. I think he's playing better than expected. And Cam York has arguably been their best defenseman.
Oh, 100% agree. 100% agree. For me, for stock up, I have York also. I think he's been the Flyers' best defenseman so far. He's really turning in. I'm really impressed because he's really turning into an all around defenseman. Maybe like the points aren't as high or as much as we'd like, but man, the guy blocks so many shots. He's in the right. He's always in the right position. He's in the right lane. He moves the puck so well.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I'd like to see him on power play 2 over Zamula. Like I know he did it a little bit in the he did it some with the national junior team, the national development. So like, and for me, like Zamula for me is a stock down. So just for that, like he needs like replace him. Why are we keeping Zamula on power play 2 when you have a guy like York that's done in the past, that's been like one of your best defensemen for like the second half of last season into this season? He's literally been the Flyers' best defenseman. Like
Yeah.
give him that cookie. Give him that cookie. Give him like power play 2 time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying touch power play 1 because Drysdale I think has been exceptional on power play 1 so far, but like give him an opportunity because like look against that Washington game, like I don't want to put both shorthanded goals on Zamula, but he could have made better plays to prevent them. Could have played the puck a little better. So I'd like to see that too. Stock up also. Sean Couturier for me. Sean Couturier is definitely stock up. I'm seeing a lot of like hate on Coots on Twitter, everywhere, and I'm like, I personally I don't get it because like other than game one, the actual the season opener, I thought since then he's been probably the with him and Frost have probably been the best centers on the Flyers, and it's not much to say because we don't have that many great centers, but I thought he's been solid. Like he's been really good. The minutes that he plays, he's been real good. He hasn't been a detriment to the
Yeah.
team. He's our best face-off guy, like easily. Um, like there was that big thing with like the whole when Torts put him on the fourth line to start the game.
Mhm.
Personally, I didn't think like a lot of people took that as an insult. The way I took it was his 800th game, and because Torts always starts his fourth line. Most games, the fourth line starts the game. So I took it as okay. Well, he wants Couturier in the opening for the opening lineup. So let's put him. Let's just replace. I think who was it? Not Delorier, but it was Cates or Lawton or whoever was supposed to be there. Let's just replace him
Lawton.
with him because then at the end of the game, he ended up with like the fourth most minutes by a forward. Couturier. He ended up
Yeah.
playing with Kucherov. He ended up
Yeah.
playing with TK.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
so I don't understand why people were trying to make it a bigger deal than it actually was. So Kutz for me has also stocked up. Michkov, like he's just been excellent. He's had a
Yeah.
couple bad games, but like you can't really say anything bad about him. I think his stock is just up. One that I'll disagree with you. You had him as stock down. I want to put a stock up is Jamey Drysdale because I get like look, he's made mistakes. Like granted, he's made some defensive mistakes. A couple have led to goals against, but just from what I saw from last year into this year, even considering all the offseason surgery he got, I think he's his game is improving. And I see it like every game, his game just improves a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And look,
Mhm.
like Corella said, we have to. They're basically remolding him because of everything that happened in Anaheim, and maybe he played a little earlier than he should have, and some like maybe bad habits that he picked up. So I like what I'm seeing from Drysdale. Like slowly, he's
Yeah.
becoming that defenseman, you know. So for me, stock up. That's pretty much it. Um, Down Zamula. I like look. He's making a lot of mistakes. Like I've always been. I've always considered myself like a Zamula supporter. Like I've defended this guy like a lot over the like especially last year, and like the potential is there. You see it. It's just that like I find he's making too many mistakes lately. And like, look, the line change. Okay, fine. Coach just came out and said, "Okay, on me, on me."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like at the same time, like you gotta know where you are at that point. Even if Torts is calling you to the bench, you're like, yeah, but like I just looked at Drysdale, like I'm the outlet pass for him. Like if I change it anyway. So Zamula too, but I don't know. Can you take him out of the lineup? Like I didn't like Eric Johnson's game, the few games that he was in. His Corsi was absolutely terrible also. So unless they call up someone like Emil Andre to take over, maybe for a couple of games. That's why I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't get to any games on the road trip. I would have loved to see Andre get into at least one, just to see, like, do we have maybe that option to
Mhm.
replace Mula if ever, So yeah, so Farabee 2 also is on my I don't know. I know Torts said the other day that he has a couple players that are banged up. I don't know if maybe Farabee is one of them because his ice time has been like the past 3 games against Vancouver. He played 14:51 against Washington the first game, 12:36, and then against Washington the second game, 8:58. Like his numbers just gradually just keep on going down this time on ice. So I don't know if he's hurt. He's definitely struggling. Like there's a couple plays where I saw where you're like, buddy, what are you doing? Like it didn't make sense, and he's not scoring. He's not really giving the team much now. So I don't know if he's hurt, but definitely stock down on him. And someone who honestly I haven't really been too impressed with on the season so far. He's been good on PP2, but 5-on-5, I think, has struggled is Bobby Brink. Now, he was scratched for that one game, so I think maybe Torts sees that too. He's had some ups, he's had some downs, but I'd like to see a little bit more from Brink because I think his spot is not like going into the season. I thought his spot wasn't guaranteed. I thought somebody might actually outwork him for it, but he had a really great camp. He had a really good preseason. But now that we're actually playing real games against full NHL rosters, I find Brink's been a little underwhelming. So I'd really like to see him pick it up a little.
Yeah, I think he makes really good points. And I think the move for Coots, you remember Claude Giroux moved to the wing too. So I thought maybe Torts was rolling and saying, let me try this and see, to try to take miles off its tires. Because, Coots is getting no younger. He's only getting older, and they want him to outlive his contract. And he's been a really, really good player, for the Flyers for so many years when healthy, that they're going to need Coots, when games matter. And when Torts thinks and hopes that games will matter this season. So I think he would. I wonder if he was tinkering to try to extend the life, the shelf life of Coots.
Yeah, and plus it also gives you that second option on the face-off if ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Darn right.
Look, even the Leafs last year. I remember the Leafs.
Dude, he's so good at face-offs. So good. He's so underrated at face-offs.
Yeah, he's our best face-off guy right now. So
he's been for years. He's been for years. Yeah, that's what he was helping with Morgan Frost. Even during his injuries, he would take Frost and be out there, late with Frost, on the ice. Even though he wasn't healthy enough to play, he'd be out there in practices trying to, help Morgan Frost win some, and Noah Cates for that matter. Both of them win faceoffs.
Yeah, because if one thing that a lot of the rest of the team is struggling is with faceoffs. So if you can
absolutely
give input and try to help these kids out, it'd be great, because if we could have even a guy like Cates, if he's going to be playing on the wing or on a line, and like we said, give that second option. So that's great. Plus, I think Coots, he's getting older, and look, if you have to move him to the wing eventually, at least why not give it a look and see what happens?
Yeah, just see. Yeah,
no, there's no harm. For me also, this season for me also is find out 2.0.
Last year,
last year was also a find out season. Well, now this year is find out 2.0. Because look, Danny Beer didn't make that many moves in the off season, so we still got to find out with a lot of these guys what we have.
Exactly. Bingo.
So there you go. Let's see. Can Coots maybe play wing? Who knows? Maybe. So
right. You're right.
Yeah. So all right. So our next two games are against Minnesota and Montreal, another back-to-back. Great. So so I guess we'll end it with there, and we'll see. What are your expectations for next week?
My expectations, not too well for tomorrow against Minnesota. I still am a little shaky of the team. Although I saw some resiliency on Wednesday, just not enough due to the nature of these injuries. With TK being day to day and receiving some sort of treatment today, doesn't bode well for tomorrow. Same thing with Cam York being shaken up, from Wednesday night, and the Flyers not having John Tortorella, for instance, in his earlier presser, not having an update on Cam York, to me doesn't bode very well for tomorrow. And it's kind of hard. You just a few moments ago, you said, I'd like to see Emil Andre up here. Well, the Phantoms have 3 games this weekend, tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's highly unlikely that they would, I'm sure with them playing at home tomorrow, definitely won't be recalled, but maybe a possible recall, even at home for the Canadiens. I don't think that the Flyers will want to lose, the weekend, but I don't know if that would play a huge factor with what the Phantoms have this weekend in terms of a back-to-back-to-back. So I think that's kind of hard but if they had to, they had to. But I just don't think that they would recall Emil Andre because they do have Eric Johnson there. That's if, Cam York definitely can't go. Let's hope he can. But I still don't feel well to call it today and say, yes, tomorrow will be a win against a very good Minnesota Wild team. I think tomorrow will be a 3-2 loss in regulation, but I do see them winning 7-2 on Sunday against the Montreal Canadiens.
I love that prediction there, Jamey. 7-2
I do
against
too,
Montreal.
and I hope it comes out. So Rick is my guy. But and I love the Habs. Habs are classy. I don't care what anybody says. Habs are passionate people. Hab fans. And yes, we had that Demi Dov, Mitch Kopp thing, but they're very, they're just passionate about the sport.
Yeah, I would love to see just a big win against the Canadiens, just so that I don't have to go back to work and hear it the next morning. All the guys on my back. So yeah, that'd be great. For me, Minnesota, you know what? I'm gonna predict a win against Minnesota. I know Minnesota's been pretty good this year, but they're a little banged up as well. So hopefully, if we could get our 5-on-5 game back on track and our special teams keep on doing what they're doing right now, I could see a win. I could see a win against Minnesota. We'll see like you said, we'll see with York and with TK what's going to happen, if they're going to play or not. We're waiting to hear on York and what the actual conditions are of his injury. So we'll see. I'm predicting a low scoring 2-1 win against Minnesota.
Beautiful.
I could see Urson, big game by Urson. Maybe you'll make a couple of incredible stops, and hopefully hey, there's our Carter Hart from last year.
Dude, that'd be great. Oh man.
And then against Montreal, Montreal's also they're in a rebuild just like we are. So that we're playing a back to back, but at least the Minnesota game's on 1, and then we play at 7 the next night. So at least there's a bit more of a time of rest. So I could see I call a win. Also, I'm going 4-2 against Montreal. I don't think we're an empty netter. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a good weekend. They're going to come out with 2 big wins, and the season's going to be back on track. That's what I'm calling. That's what I'm calling, Jamey. That's what I'm calling.
Let's go Flyera, baby.
That's right. Let's go Flyera. All right. So, any last thoughts, Jamey?
No, I think I think you did well, Eric. I think that you made some really, really good points, and you mentioned a Minnesota Wild team that's banged up. So yeah, it's possible that they could steal a victory tomorrow, and I sure hope so. Don't puck with the Flyers. Everyone remember that. Don't puck with media, Flyers.
Great one, Jamey. Great one. All right. So for all our fans out there listening, watching, here's to a great week in Flyers hockey, and hopefully we get a couple big wins. And what can I say? Go Flyers.